Great. Are we ready to get started?
I think so.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for attending today's session. My name is Kendra Merrill. I am an account manager at Pearson supporting the Smarthinking online tutoring services. And I am here today to walk you through what the Smarthinking services are, how it works, what the student experience is. So here's a little bit about the agenda for today. We'll start high level so you understand in general what Smarthinking is. But I will talk about the Smarthinking tutors, who they are, and our pedagogical approach. I will spend the majority of our time doing a live Smarthinking demo. I have a few sample sessions that I'll show you. We have some information on a faculty referral tool that I want to make you aware of. And then we'll leave some time at the end for wrap up and any questions that you may have. I'll also plan on pausing periodically to answer questions as we go along. And just given the number of participants in this session, I'm wondering, does it make the most sense to enter questions into the chat?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll monitor the chat as best as we can, and then we'll, if we need to, we'll ask the questions.
Okay, that sounds great. Yeah, Tamara, if you could interrupt me if needed, or I'll just pause periodically and see if anything has come through that I can answer as we go along. All right.
Great.
So Smarthinking is an online tutoring service that provides 24/7 tutoring support for Santa Monica College students. If you haven't seen Smarthinking before, or if it's been a while since you've seen it, it might look a little bit different. We did release a new interface last November. Your students access Smarthinking from a link within their Canvas course. So it's a single sign-on link, which basically means that students don't need to know a URL to go to, and they don't need to know a username and a password. They simply click on that link from their Canvas course, and they're brought into the Smarthinking dashboard, where they can immediately begin receiving support from a tutor. Again, that's 24/7 and available to students on demand as they need help. When they log in, they will land on this dashboard page, and I'll walk through this as we walk through the site live here in just a minute. But in general, I like to explain the Smarthinking services in terms of the 4 different tutoring modalities that are available to them. So the first way that students can get help is through our Writing Center. They simply click Writing Help from the top menu bar, and they can receive feedback for any writing assignment across the curriculum. And this feedback is provided asynchronously. The response time is under 24 hours, and the service is available 24/7. We'll go into more detail on that in just a moment. We also have live tutoring support. So if students click tutoring from that top menu bar, they will have the ability to drop into a tutoring session. Those drop-in sessions, again, are available 24/7, and the average wait time is under 3 minutes. We also offer pre-scheduled tutoring for our students who like to plan ahead in advance. Maybe they want to schedule a tutoring appointment at a specific day and time that works best for their schedule, or work with a specific tutor. Those students have the ability to do that through our pre-scheduled option. And then there's offline question submissions for students who are on the go, who may not have time to work with a tutor in real time. They can drop off a question and receive a tutor response back within 24 hours. We do also have group tutoring available. This is a great tool for students who are working online and maybe they have a group project or a group discussion that needs to be completed. They can collaborate in our whiteboard area. It's a free group collaboration tool. And in the event that students get stuck, they can invite a tutor into that session. And at that point in time, the tutor will begin working with the group as a whole. So group tutoring is an option as well. And before I move on, just so that you can see a little bit better in concept about how the group tutoring session works, this is an example of our whiteboard. In this session, you can see there are 5 students in this group session. They're all given their own color associated with their name, and that helps to streamline the conversation that's happening within the interactive whiteboard. We do have a chat box on the right-hand side to help further streamline the conversation. So again, a really great collaboration tool for students, and in the event that they want to work with the tutor will join and begin working with the group as a whole. We do have integration with Pearson MyLab. So if you use a MyLab, we can provide you with some really straightforward instructions on how to turn this on as a learning aid within your MyLab course. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this today, but if you have questions or you want some follow-up, I'm happy to provide you with some more information. Just let me know. This enables students to get real-time assistance as they're working on their MyLab homework assignments. All right, and a quick overview of the different disciplines that we support. So we support a variety of subjects within each of these disciplines, but just wanted to provide you at a high level insight into all of the different areas that we can support. We support students in business, which includes economics, finance, and accounting, computers and technology, math and statistics, nursing and allied health, reading, science, Spanish, and writing. I mentioned this before, but I just want to reiterate that the writing support is available for students across the curriculum. So regardless of the course that they're working in, we can help with writing assignments. We also provide assistance with resume and cover letter and career writing as well.
And Kendra, we have a question from Vanessa. She wants to know, who are the tutors?
Yeah, so that's perfect timing. A little bit more information about who the tutors are and what our pedagogical approach is. So all of our tutors have a minimum of a bachelor's degree. 90% have an advanced degree, either a master's degree or a PhD in their field. Most of our tutors are fellow educators. So all of our tutors have an average of 12 years of teaching and tutoring experience. Many of them are adjunct professors, retired educators, high school educators, educators who are now stay-at-home parents, for example. So sort of a wide variety of background and experience, but in general, fellow educators. Tutors go through a very robust tutor vetting, training, and quality assurance process. So they must submit a resume and cover letter. They go through a whole interview process, and those who make it through the interview phase are brought on, and they undergo training not only in our pedagogical approach, but also on the platform, and learn how to best practices for tutoring in an online environment. We have a robust quality assurance process with our tutor management team, and our tutors use a Socratic teaching method. So they very strictly will not simply provide answers or edit and rewrite papers. They are trained to really live by that Socratic teaching method and really helping the student understand the subject matter at hand. So just a little bit more about our approach. We offer both the synchronous and asynchronous support options. Regardless of which option the student is choosing to work with a tutor, all of our sessions are one-on-one sessions. They are always tailored to the individual student's needs. Our tutors are never multitasking and assisting more than one student at a time. And again, we use that Socratic teaching method to help students really learn and focus on understanding the subject matter. And that support is available 24/7 to provide students with assistance at the moment that they need help. And then before I jump into a live sort of walkthrough of the student experience, I also wanted to mention that after every tutoring session, we give students the ability to respond to a survey. It's an optional survey. We ask them to rate their experience, rate the technology, rate their tutor. And one of the questions we ask is, would you recommend Smarthinking to a friend? We think this is just a good gut check question. It helps us determine if a student had a positive or a negative experience. And overwhelmingly across all of the different students that we support, over 93% report that they would recommend Smarthinking to a friend. We also receive comments in these surveys, and this is just typical of a common comment we receive from students, stating that they came to the session not knowing what to do and feeling overwhelmed, and then left the short session knowing exactly what to do and feeling confident.
Kendra, we do have a question in the chat.
Sure.
Wendy would like to know what the racial makeup of the tutors are.
That is a good question and not something that I'm able to answer. I'd have to follow up on that. I would say I'm not sure that we always know that exact information at every moment in time as well. Our tutors, we staff over 2,000 tutors. Many of them are here in the US. Many of them are around the world. We're a 24/7 operation. The average tenure with Smarthinking is about 3 years, but we do have tutors coming in and out. So that's a good question, but not one that I am able to answer today. I apologize.
Could you possibly follow up with us and we can get that information to Wendy if you have it?
Yeah, I'll see if that's something that I have or if that's something that we are able to even disclose, but I'm happy to follow up.
Okay, thank you. And then it looks like Maria Martinez has her hand up. Maria, do you have a question?
Yes, I'm sorry, I can't type because I'm driving. My question is this a free service to Santa Monica College students, or do they have to pay for this?
It's in
Yes, it is
classes.
a free
Yeah.
service. It's a free service.
Thank you,
Okay,
Tammy.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions before I move on?
There's nothing in the chat right now, so I think
Okay.
we're good.
All right. So I believe, here we go. So I'm logged in here as a Santa Monica College student, so you can see exactly what your students see when they log in. So again, they'll click on a link from within their Canvas course. And once they do that, they'll automatically be brought into our Smarthinking platform and land on this dashboard page. This dashboard page is meant to be sort of just a welcome page. There's a message from Santa Monica that just talks about this being a 24/7 online tutoring service. All students begin each semester with 5 free hours of tutoring support, and students can request more time if needed by contacting Distance Education. And they can see how many tutoring minutes they have available here on the right-hand side. So students will see 480 minutes to start. And then as they use time, they'll begin to see this count backwards. So they're able to keep track of how many tutoring minutes are available to them at any given time. Students can also opt into text message alerts. They can do that by just simply clicking here and entering in their phone number. We send text message notifications to alert students when their writing reviews are returned to them so they know when to log back in and pick those up. We also send reminders of upcoming tutoring sessions for pre-scheduled appointments that students may have booked. We send these reminders via email as well, but for students who want to opt into those text messages, that's what that's used for. All tutoring sessions are archived and we make those available to students. They can access those here from their home page. And then we also have some short tutorial videos. These are really great resources to get students up to speed really quickly if they need some additional assistance on how to use the platform, how to use the services, and what tutoring options are available to them. So the different tutoring options are accessible from the top menu bar. So we'll just go across here from left to right. If I start with writing help, this is our asynchronous writing support. Again, it can support students across the curriculum, and we simply ask students to choose their writing subject. Most commonly used is the Essay Center. This tends to focus on higher order writing concerns and the paper's biggest revision needs. We have grammar and documentation, which focuses more on those lower order writing concerns. We've got paragraph submission. We have a Spanish language center. And then we also have business writing as well. So students simply need to choose a subject that makes the most sense for the assignment that they're working on. I'll choose Essay Center. And just note, we strive to return essays within 24 hours. The average turnaround time is closer to about 17 hours, but we like to tell students to plan ahead and recommend at least 48 hours before the assignment due date. And that just allows for students to plan for that 24-hour response time and then also give themselves a 24-hour window to make any changes based on the tutor's response prior to their assignment deadline. We ask for the course level and course title. This is just important context for the tutor to have. They should provide a writing title. And then we provide this area here. It can be expanded quite a lot, so students can provide as much detail as they want around their assignment description, any instructions from their instructor, and any special instructions that they have for their tutor. The more detailed and specific that students can be here, the more personalized the support is going to be back to the student. So as a best practice, we like students to provide as much information and context for the tutor as possible here. Then students need to choose up to 2 areas from these 9 options in which they need help. We know that students aren't always the best judge of where they need help within an assignment. And so our tutors are trained to identify a 3rd area and sometimes the 4th area if it makes sense to address with the student. But we like the student to be able to try to articulate what is it that they're struggling with, where do they want the tutor to focus their time. By default, it will go to the first available tutor. We do have ESL specialists, business and technical writing specialists, and creative writing specialists. So students can choose a specialized area if they want. And then they simply upload their file. They click preview and submit, and they'll receive a confirmation screen just confirming that they have successfully submitted their essay. As I said, we strive to return essays within 24 hours, so we'll send them a confirmation email upon submission and then a confirmation email once it's been returned. Students can log back in and they can pick their essay up here under My Archives. And then archives are also stored here under My Sessions and under Archives. Are there any questions about the writing support?
Not necessarily the writing support, but we do have a couple of questions here.
Okay.
Okay, so if we refer a student to tutoring, would there be a way for us instructors to know if they attended? Would we be notified by the tutor?
So that's a good question. We do have what is called a referral tool that will enable you to technically refer students or refer students through the technology to tutoring support, and will allow you to follow up to see if the student completed that tutoring session. I do have a couple of slides toward the end of this presentation, which will go through that in more detail.
Okay, and if the student rewatches a session, does that count against their available time?
No, tutoring time is only counted for the time that students are actually spending with the tutor.
And Maria, I believe you have a question. Maybe her hand was just, oh, okay. I think
Sorry, no, I had to put my hand down, sorry.
Okay, and that's it.
Okay. So I'll move on to the live tutoring support options. If I choose tutoring from the top menu, the first option here is drop-in tutoring. So we'll walk through that first. The drop-in tutoring is available 24/7. It's on-demand tutoring support. Students first need to choose their discipline. So I'll go ahead and choose math as an example, but you can see the different disciplines that are available to your students. And then once I choose a discipline, it's going to ask me to drill down a little bit further and choose my subject within math that I need support with. Once I do that, the whiteboard is going to open for me. This is our interactive whiteboard. I'll click Start. And I can begin working in the whiteboard. I can type in the whiteboard and I can move my cursor around. There's also a math equation editor that I can use to bring different math problems out into the whiteboard. There is a freehand drawing tool. All of these tools on the left-hand side are interactive tools for the whiteboard. I can put graphs and different charts into the whiteboard or different grids. There are different shape tools, a line tool, an eraser. There is, I can move things around if I need to. So all kinds of tools here on the left-hand side. There are various emojis that can be utilized. Oftentimes our tutors will use some of these to indicate within their Socratic teaching method when students have done something correct or when they need to try something different. Up here in the top menu bar, I have the ability to create additional pages if I run out of space here, and I can toggle between the different pages. There's a pointer tool that our tutors often use. There's undo and redo. All of the shortcuts, the keyboard shortcuts that work in Microsoft Office will work in the whiteboard as well. So I can copy and paste from different documents into the whiteboard. I can also upload documents and share them with my tutor, or the tutor can upload documents to share back with the student. We support a wide range of file types, including the different images, GIF, PNG, JPEG, PDF documents. All the Microsoft Office documents are also supported. I can take screen captures if I need to. The math equation editor is also available from the top menu bar. There's a screen share option, so I can share my screen with the tutor, or the tutor can share their screen back with me. Ultimately, I can work in this whiteboard space for as long as I want to prepare and craft my question for the tutor. And then when I'm ready, I'll click Submit Question, and I'll be connected to the first available tutor. You'll notice we also have this chat box on the right-hand side to help streamline the conversation between the student and the tutor. And as I mentioned, the average wait time is less than 3 minutes. I'm going to exit out of this and go in to show you the pre-scheduled tutoring option. So if I choose tutoring again, I'll choose schedule a future session. I'll choose my discipline, and then I'll choose my subject. And you'll notice with the pre-scheduled option, particularly with math, we have more subjects available than you do with the drop-in option. And that's simply because some of the advanced math subjects are only available with pre-scheduled, but also we support audio and video. So if a student wants to speak with a tutor using audio or meet face-to-face using video, they can pre-schedule an appointment at a time that works best for them and just choose the tutoring subject that indicates audio and video is supported. So once I choose my subject, this is going to take students out to our scheduling center. Students need to schedule at least 24 hours ahead of time. So the date listed here is automatically going to default to tomorrow's date. Your students are going to see the times here in Pacific time, but they can update under their settings. If they live in a different time zone, they can change that if they need to. And students simply choose a slot, a 30-minute session in white that indicates it's available. I can also book up to 2 weeks out. So if I want to look at next Thursday instead, I can choose a tutoring appointment that works best for me. I can book, I believe it's up to 5 sessions at a time. If students think they're going to need more than 30 minutes, they can also book back-to-back sessions. Students can choose the tutor that they want to work with. And this is just letting me know if I need to cancel my session, I should do so at least 24 hours before my appointment time. I can compose my question now so that I'm prepared for that session ahead of time, or I can close out, but ultimately that session will now be in blue, just indicating that I've booked that session. Again, I can compose my question or I can cancel from this screen. I will receive a confirmation email confirming that I've booked that appointment. I'll receive email reminders leading up to this appointment time. If I've opted into text messages, I'll also receive text message reminders. And then I'll receive this reminder listed on my home page. And a join link will appear here 5 minutes before my tutoring session. This is where I'll join my session just directly from the home page. And we try to make it as easy as possible if students aren't able to join to cancel. So we will provide a cancellation link in those email reminders as well. If I go here to my sessions, you'll see that session next Thursday is listed, and I can cancel from this screen too if I need to. So those are the 2 live tutoring options. Are there any questions about that before I move on?
No questions.
Okay. This next option is submit an offline question. So this is really great for students who are on the go, really busy. I know a lot of students work full-time and go to school full-time. And so this is a great support option for those students who maybe don't have time to meet for a live session. They can drop off a question and receive a response back from within 24 hours. We still use that Socratic teaching method. We're not a homework answering service. And so it's important for students to understand that. Sometimes we'll get students saying they need help with a particular math question, but they haven't completed anything or haven't shown any work that they've completed. But we're still able to provide them with some assistance. And I'll show you an example of that here in just a moment. So if I choose submit an offline question, I need to choose my discipline, and I'll choose science this time just to switch it up. And then choose my subject. And you'll notice as I hover here, if students aren't sure which subject to choose, we provide some more information in the hover over about the different topics that are available for each. So once I choose that, I'm going to be taken to our whiteboard. I can use this whiteboard the same way as the other one that I showed you. There's just no chat box over here because this is not an interactive session. It's an asynchronous session. So students can spend as much time as they need to entering their question into the whiteboard. They'll click submit, and then they can expect to receive a response back within 24 hours. And we'll send them an email when that response has been returned or a text message. And students will simply log back in and go to their archives to pick up their tutor response. Group sessions is located here. So for students who want to join or initiate a group session, they simply come to tutoring group sessions. They should plan ahead with the group that they're meeting with. What day and time do they want to meet? And who is the group leader? Who's going to initiate that session? So to initiate a session, it's just going to walk me through the same process of choosing a discipline, choosing a subject. It's going to ask me for a topic and a keyword, which will help differentiate any other sessions that may be happening at the college as well. And once that session is started, I will see any running group sessions listed here, and the other students will be able to join that session. There will be a join link here under action. I already mentioned my sessions is where students can go to access their archives. Archives are made available indefinitely. It will automatically show archives for the last 6 months, but students can go back further than that. And they can see any upcoming sessions that they have reserved. We also have some free study aids. So we have over 2,000 video lessons in algebra and geometry. These are sort of similar to like a Khan Academy video with a woman standing in front of a whiteboard walking students through how to solve various problems and different concepts within algebra and geometry. So a really great free resource for students there. We have an online accounting glossary, some math and statistics resources that were curated by our math and statistics team. Here is a link out to our writer's handbook. Our tutors will often refer students to our writer's handbook in their tutor responses for essay submissions. This is a great resource for any writing questions that a student may have. There are various lesson plans within this, so you can see it's organized by chapter, sections, and lessons. So we'll often refer students out to specific areas where it makes sense. We have a career writer's handbook as well. And then if students need any support, we do have a 24/7 support team. They are available through phone, chat, or students can submit a support ticket. Students can search through our frequently asked questions. We have a lot of information in here, a lot of great self-help resources, or they can just simply contact us for assistance. We find that the Smarthinking interface and the different support options are really very intuitive, very straightforward, so we don't get very many support questions, but we do have a support team on standby should students need some additional support. And that is the run through of the student experience and the platform and the different support options. I'm gonna go back over to show you some sample sessions. Before I do that, I'll just pause really fast and see if any more questions have come through.
So we do have another question, Kendra.
Sure.
Are these videos counted against the full tutoring time? And is this software accessible for screen readers, etc.?
Great question. So any of the resources under study aids are free resources. Tutoring time is only deducted for time spent with a live tutor or with a tutor. So if it's a drop-in session, time is metered to the minute. For pre-scheduled sessions, that time is booked in 30-minute increments. And then for essay submissions and offline questions, time is also metered to the minute. Those are asynchronous support options. So it's going to depend on how long it takes the tutor to review that essay submission, for example. We have some averages that are very consistent for an essay. 40 minutes is an average turnaround, or the average amount of time spent, but that's going to vary depending on the student's submission. If a student submits a 1-page paper, that's going to take the tutor less time to review than a 10-page paper. So it varies, but in general, the average is about 40 minutes. And then offline questions, the average is about 20 minutes, but again, that varies just depending on the student's submission. And then your question about screen readers is yes, we do support screen readers. I can turn on accessibility mode. So you can see I just hit my tab button on my keyboard and it says switch on accessibility mode. I can click enter or hit enter on my keyboard and it tells me you're attempting to switch on accessibility mode. You'll see a few differences. So our platform is fully accessible and it does work with screen readers. The accessibility mode does change what the or how the interactive whiteboard works and brings students to an accessible version of that whiteboard. I hope that answers your questions. All right. So I'm going to share with you a couple of sample student sessions. This first session is an example of a math session. It was a drop-in tutoring session. In this, the student's writing is in black while the tutor is in red. That's always the case. We do this to help streamline the conversation, but also after the tutoring session, it's archived, and we want to make it easy for anybody reviewing those archives to be able to follow the conversation and tell who said what within the tutoring session. You can see the Socratic teaching method in action here, where the tutor introduces themselves and says, can you please show me what you've done so far? We need to get a handle of What is the student working on and what work have they completed so far? Where is it that they're getting stuck? And you can see the tutor uses that green check mark to indicate that when the student has done something correct and to move on to the next phase, and they'll redirect them and let them know when they need to do something different or try again. You can also see the graphing tool in action here. It's not always pretty, but it is effective. So this is just a good example of several different tools being used within this particular tutoring session. Here's another example. This is a statistics session. It would have been really time consuming and difficult for the student to bring all of this information into the whiteboard and type it all out. So this is an example where the student was able to actually upload a document, and then the student and the tutor are able to work directly in that document together. And again, you can see that Socratic teaching method in action as they work through the problem together. And then this is an example of an offline question submission where the student drops off a question and then receives a response back within 24 hours. The student came in and says, how do I solve this problem? And you can see the tutor is still able to help the student, even though we're not going to solve the problem for them. So the tutor does say, it would have been better for you to include any work ideas about the problem, but in any case, we're still able to provide assistance, and the tutors will often take the problem that the student is working on and solve something that's similar for them, so the student can learn the steps and then apply that to their own problem. And then here's some information about that referral tool that I was speaking about. So when you log in as an instructor with an instructor role type within Canvas, and you click on the Smarthinking link, the system should recognize you as an instructor. And so when it passes you through to Smarthinking, it will take you to a different view than what your students see. So you'll see this referral tool. You will still have the ability to log in as a student so you can see what your students see, but otherwise you will have the ability to refer students to tutoring through the technology. Once you've referred students to tutoring, you'll be able to see your students' referred sessions. So if you refer somebody to tutoring and they complete a tutoring session, you'll be able to follow up to see that they completed that session. And then you'll also be able to review any alerts associated with your student sessions. So to give you an idea of what this looks like, if I choose to refer students to tutoring, this is going to ask me for some information. I need to upload a list of students that I want to refer. I can upload a course roster, or I can upload for individual students. I'll have the ability, once I upload that course roster, just to reference that roster, it will be stored there for me in the future. I can refer an entire course to tutoring, or I can refer certain individuals from the course, or I can refer one student at a time. This is going to ask me to choose the service that I want to refer students to. Do I want to refer them to the Essay Center or a drop-in tutoring session, for example? I can choose the tutoring subject I'm referring them to. And then I have this open area which will allow me to provide any information or context that I want to send the student about this referral. What is it that I'm referring them to? Why? What assignment am I referring them for, etc. And then I'll click send referrals. Students will get that referral via email, and they'll also see an alert on their Smarthinking homepage about that referral the next time that they log in. And then once students are referred, you can follow up to see which students actually completed that referred tutoring session. You'll be able to see the student's information, the course and term and assignment description that you provided in that referral, along with the subject that they got tutoring in, and then the date and time of that tutoring session. These two options here are actually hyperlinks to those session archives. So you'll not only be able to see that that session occurred, you'll have access to view the archive for that tutoring session. And then this is an example of the alerts report. After every tutoring session, our tutors have the option to flag a session with an alert. 90 to 95% of the time, there's no alert. The student came to the session needing support, and we provided it to them. But you can see we do have a list of different concerns that could potentially apply to different sessions. That could indicate that a student is at risk, or they might benefit from some additional support or outreach. So you'll be able to see of the referrals that you sent, are there any alerts with any of the sessions that were completed? And if there are, which alerts apply? And then below that, you'll be able to see the student level detail, including the student's name, the alert associated with that session, and then a hyperlink to that session so you can view the archive. And that is the referral tool, and really wraps up the agenda that I had planned to go through today. I'd love to stop there and hear any other questions that you may have or any feedback that you have at this point. Are there any other questions I can answer?
No, it looks like it's just really a positive feedback that how useful Smart Thinking is, and everyone's saying thank you.
Okay, that's great to hear. And I see somebody said it's helpful to see this from the student's perspective, and I agree. I think understanding really what the student experience is really important, and it gives you confidence to be able to refer students to this support should they need help while they're taking courses. I know many students are working late at night, and we do have a robust reporting dashboard that I know Tamara has access to, and perhaps some other administrators there on campus, but the majority of the tutoring sessions are occurring in the evening hours as well, evening and overnight hours, which is just great to see that they have that support option, you know, when they're working on their homework and they need the help.
Looks like we have one question. Alina?
I do have one question. Can you hear me? I missed it. Is there a Canvas integration, and what does that look like? Can you show us that? I might have missed it at the beginning.
Yes, so there is a Canvas integration. Smart Thinking is a link within the left-hand navigation of Canvas courses. I believe it says Smart Thinking Online Tutoring, but I don't have access to Canvas to confirm. Tamara or someone else, do you have?
Yes, it's not hard to miss. It says Smart Thinking Online Tutoring, and it's on the left-hand side. And it's auto-populated if you have access to it. So you can't miss it. And we'd be happy to look into your courses, Alina, if you would like us to, and we can point you to where exactly it is if you'd like that.
Thanks. This would just be if I needed to help another student with their other classes, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so they'll be in the online and hybrid classes. There are a few questions about this. Unfortunately, due to coding, some of the emergency synchronous courses are still coded as on ground, so they may not have access to Smart Thinking. So you definitely just want to double check that your course has access. If it does, you'll see it on the left-hand side.
Thank you.
All right. Well, if there aren't any other questions, I want to thank you so much for your time today. It's really appreciated. I hope that you found this beneficial. If you have any questions or feedback after this, please let me know. Tamara, I'd love to hear if you're hearing from anybody as well. And otherwise, I hope everyone has a happy and healthy fall semester.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.